Just a quick disclaimer before the episode starts. Our one guest, Daft, or Thomas, his audio got chipped out at one point. His internet went out, and it wasn't picking up during the editing session. So anytime he talks, I had to shave off. So if there's some parts in the episode that doesn't really seem like the conversation's flowing, that's why. My apologies about this. Enjoy the episode. And hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of I Never Shut Up with Sam. I am your host, Sam, and I never shut up about The Last of Us Season 2. Just ended on Max, and I got my friends with me here today. We all watched the entire second season together, and we're just going to give our thoughts and kind of go through the travel journey of what Season 2 was. So, let's introduce some of these guys. I got my cousin Bret here today. What's up, Bret?
Hi, my name is Bret, and I never shut up about keeping the real ones around, and also casino stakes because I'm a degenerate gambler. Follow me on TikTok, bonus Bret Slot Talk. No, I'm just playing. I don't have
Shameless
that.
plug.
I'm just messing
Respect,
around. I don't
respect. That
have
was
that. But another thing I never shut up about is I will always choose Raisin Canes over Chick-fil-A any day, any day. And I don't have my partner
That's
in
cap.
crime, Chris,
That's a hot
to
take.
defend me on this. But I got two guys in here that will try to trump Chick-fil-A over Raisin Canes. And nope, Raisin
'Cause
Canes
it's the
takes
truth.
the win. It's not the truth. It's not the truth at all.
That's debatable.
And with me also is my friend TJ.
Well, hello. I'm TJ. Some of you watching may know me from the You Were Saying podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I never shut up about wrestling. I love wrestling. I've been raised on wrestling, essentially. You know, I used to watch that shit from started when I was 7, 8 years old to now. You know, wrestling is a big passion of mine, and yeah, my favorite of all time is Triple H. That's a hot take for a lot of people, but so there you go.
And if you remember, you were saying you just know this guy's just Mr. Hot Take all
I'm a
over
hot
the
take.
place.
That's right.
All right, and then with us, we got our friend Thomas, aka Daft. I'm just going to disclose this right now. So you might hear us call him Daft a lot. No, he's not a secret agent with the super cool kind of whatever name.
Yep.
No, he's our friend on Discord, and you gamers know how it is. You meet a friend on there, you call them by their username, you don't say their real name. It's just fucking weird. So you call them by their username. Sup, Daft?
What up? I'm Daft. I never stop talking about the random shit that I see on my phone while we're on call.
You kind of glitched out there a little bit.
Damn. Asa, I'm Daft. I never stop talking about the random shit that I see on my phone while we're on call.
I don't know if I want to know what kind of shit's on your phone, but you can describe one thing.
A lot of what's it called? Brain rot. A lot of dog videos, cat videos. It's taking a while to load, but yeah.
Alrighty. I'm only doing that mainly because it's just kind of bad on your end a little bit, not gonna lie. See, when you're
cleared up
not
now.
talking, yeah, it's cleared up now. That's weird. Forgive me, everybody. This is episode 2. This shit's still a work in progress, you know. I'm still figuring out what this Riverside thing is and everything. But let's just dive into The Last of Us. Now, I'm going to make a confession on this first. So, I have never played the games prior to watching this show. I watched half of the first season when it first came out and then stopped for whatever reason. Stopped during of what became one of my favorite episodes, which was episode 5 of the first season. Me and Bret started watching it from start to finish together. Neither of us played the game. Bret, if I remember correctly, you played the first game now, right?
That's right. Yep, I beat the first game. I watched
Okay.
I watched the TV show, the first season first before I played the game, and I appreciated watching the. I'm more of a TV series person than a video gamer. Now I do like video games. Don't get me wrong, but when there's movies based on video games, I prefer watching or TV shows. I prefer watching the series or movie. So I enjoyed watching the show and then playing the game after and getting the familiar activities that were basically based on in the game. It was pretty cool to see that
Hmm.
coincide with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you played all of that, and I'm like in the midst of playing the first game right now. So I'm only at like where you meet Bill. It's been a while since I touched it, but yeah. So I'm not familiar with the games at all. This is all brand new for me, but I have been having a pretty fun ride with it overall. And then my other two guests have played not one but both the games.
Yep.
Yeah, the second game still, it's a. We'll get into this more probably in a little bit, but the second game overall, I think, is a better game than the first. But we'll get into that in a little bit because there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll touch on that for sure.
So I kind of want to start this off with overalls, and then we'll get into nitty gritties and more detailed things. I guess my overall thought on both the finale and this season, I thought the finale, I'm not gonna lie, part of me, there's parts of me that like the finale, like more about the finale of the first season more than this one. But I think I liked this one more as an actual finale of a season. It's weird. Like maybe it's the events.
Could be the
I
massive
just
cliffhanger.
yeah, that'll do it for you. But the first one does kind of give you that full closure. I just feel like with the first season's ending, I feel like it really jumped to the gun on it like pretty quick, quicker than I expected. But I'm not gonna harp on that too much. The season as a whole now. Without getting into full detail yet, I will say I thought it was very I thought it was very well crafted. The way they're telling this story is very unique. I haven't seen anything like it. And what I'll say is some things like that you're used to seeing like get told in a movie or a show like okay, so this is a revenge story, right? We're used to kind of just we're used to seeing like the reason for the revenge build up. We meet Abby, and then immediately after like meeting her, she kills Joel. And by the way, spoiler warning. But what are you doing here? If you haven't watched it, when I said we're going to be talking about
Spoiler
it,
warning.
okay. So just to drop this on you, but yeah, what are you doing here? And look at the title. I put in the title, okay? Um, but anyways, I feel like the way they're telling a revenge story is very unique. It's kind of
Whoa.
like gives me the we lost a Daft. It looks
We
like
lost Daft. He had to go do a mission. He is a spy agent. You didn't
uh,
know that?
I guess so. Good to hear that you are good though. Sorry about the emotional part. Speaking about emotions, the emotional journey of The Last of Us season 2. Now, I don't remember where we left off in the conversation.
What a great segue.
I don't remember where we left off in the conversation. I remember talking about like the revenge story and how I think that they're making it their own with how they are telling it. Like the way they go about the order of events and how much they'll take time on a certain thing versus how quick they'll get through something is it's interesting. Sometimes it lands, I think on like initial reaction for some things like real quick, yeah, to get the Joel thing out of the way. When that happened, you know, we're so used to seeing a main character and following through with them, and it's like their story. When he got killed, I'm an instant in denial, probably like most people. And I just was like, no way. There's no like how can this be good? How is this gonna be watchable? And then you let them cook, and after like an episode, actually literally after a episode, I was kind of back on board with what they were doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm understanding the story and the decision. And it is making one good story so far. It really is. I'm not going to sit here saying that was a wrong decision. It's just crazy with how quick it happens. Just everything about it. Not even just like it being the second episode, just like how quick like they just get to the fucking point on that. And yeah. So I give them props overall for how they're telling the story. And that's kind of like my overall with it right now. I really don't have much complaints. I'm liking what they're doing with Ellie. I know, and I'm gonna get this part out of the way real quick too. One last little thing I want to touch on. This Bella Ramsey hate is so fucking forced, and I can't believe it. Now, I know I haven't played the games, and all the people who are mad are the people that played the games, but then there's the counterpoint. The two people in here that have played the games. I feel like you guys are enjoying. I know we haven't really talked about it, but it seems like you guys are kind of cool, Bella. I think Bella's doing fucking awesome. I love what they're doing with the character. I really have no complaints. Bella's been putting on a great performance from last season to this one, and I even like the writing of it too. So, no complaints on my end about that. Hot take, sure, I don't care. But the hate is a bandwagon that's kind of forced.
Yeah, I saw there's a lot of I think where Ellie kind of lost a lot of people was, see, this is kind of something that has to do with the game too. The beginning of this, yeah, Ellie was, on like a rampage and she wanted to go and find Joel, but she's not how she was in the game, if that makes sense. Like, it took her a little bit to become like this badass. You know what I mean? Like this ruthless character that was literally out for blood in the game. Like,
Yeah.
and it took her a little bit to become that, as you saw with the Nora scene, which is by far one of my favorite scenes, I think, of the game, but also of the show too. I think they portrayed it great, and I think it took her a little bit, like I said, to become this ruthless badass, and now she just wanted to go and kill everyone. So I think it changed a lot though with what happened obviously in the finale, when I'm the one that you want, I know why he did it and all that. So I don't know. I mean, this is kind of getting into like other shit from the game, but yeah, I think Bella is doing a great job. Yes, there are some differences. There's a lot of differences, with her character. But with what Bella has been given this season, I think she has been doing an amazing job playing Ellie. I love it. So, and Caitlin Dever, I think, is going to be fantastic in season 3, because this Abby is going to be a hard character to portray. And I think, obviously, Caitlin has kind of showed it already, in this season 2 with the little bit of screen time that she has had. But I think she's going to do a great job. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that too. I'm excited to see what she does with Abby. I mean, I guess to touch on Abby real quick. So, you know, this is a what side are you on kind of thing. Are you on this team Abby? Are you on this team Ellie? Are you in this in the middle? And the way I see it, and I'm just gonna get into this fucking can of worms. And I know I've talked to you guys about this before, but I really feel like there's no right or wrong here. I feel like this show, honestly, is kind of just like the cycle of life in apocalypse. You're going to become a selfish person. You're going to seek vengeance. You're going to do things for yourself. I feel like if there's a theme to any of this, it's greed. I feel like greed is the main theme of The Last of Us, because you have Joel who ended up just saving Ellie for himself. I think when he has that scene where he confesses to her, I do truly think, like, in his mind, he believes he's doing it out of love for her, but he might not realize he's a selfish person. I think, like I said, like, that's a gray area right there. But nevertheless, he does have some inexcusable actions. Ellie is starting to turn into him, as we can see. She is literally becoming Joel, and I actually love that they're doing that, because that's what she was kind of brought up with the last 5 years of her life was around him, and we know how he is. And now we got Abby, who was in that greed of like wanting to get vengeance about her father being killed. And then I even think the Fireflies fall in that category because that could have been handled better on their end. They wake Joel up and they're just like, yeah, we're going to do this and we're not even going to tell her about it and you just have to accept that. What did you think he was going to do? Where they're were in the correct. It was just the way you're going about it. I'm like, it could have just been handled better. Like if you told Ellie, like, hey, you're gonna die, like, are you okay with that? Obviously, we know Ellie was gonna be okay with that. It's just the gist of like everything could have been handled better on everyone's end, and everyone is doing things for themselves, and that's why I think greed is like the biggest villain of all in The Last of Us. Everyone's affected by it. Everyone's doing shit for themselves at the end of the day. And with that said, I feel like you can't really say it's good or bad. There's more bad than good, don't get me wrong. It's a very dark gray area, but nevertheless it's still gray, and that goes for Joel included, in my opinion. So, as far as that goes, and I remember I was talking about Abby before this. Don't worry, I'm wrapping this up on this, but because I just remember I was like, oh, this all started with Abby. But no, I understand Abby's reasoning. Don't get me wrong, has every right, and her reasonings are valid, and especially because you know why Joel did everything. Yes, Abby is not wrong for what she did and wanted to do. However, as someone who is watching the show I'm looking at this from a writer standpoint and a watcher standpoint. Watcher standpoint, I'm like, yeah, I want to see fucking Abby get what I want to see it happen. We all do. Well, if you are looking at this in the same lens, but like from a like looking at this like in a writer standpoint, I'm like, oh, I respect like how they're doing this. We're watching the show through the eyes of like the bad guy, but you still want to kind of follow along with him because you're just used to doing that. And Joel's got a lot of likability to him too. It's a love-hate relationship. So yeah, I don't love Abby. I mean, I think it, but I like that I don't. I feel like it's not that I think she's a mistake. It's that I kind of like the divisiveness that they created. It's pretty crazy to see, and everyone's got valid arguments for wanting one or the other.
Yeah. Brett, anyone got anything to add? I feel like I talked for a good amount.
Yeah, you guys never shut up about shit. No, I'm just playing.
No, I want to hear some. I want to hear some stuff from you two about this season.
So, in my opinion about Joel, he's a good guy. I mean, obviously, he turned into a person, turned into a monster, in regards to vengeance and greed. I can agree with you on that 100%. As soon as that first episode, and even in the first season, when he lost his daughter, that's, I got a daughter myself, and I can't imagine, going through something like that, like how I would be. And then when he ended up meeting with Ellie, obviously there's a lot of bonding the time of them venturing and trying to find that facility to take her to. But as soon as they got there, and then he found out what they were going to do, he let his heart get in the way of millions and millions of people. I can't really say if it was a bad decision or a good decision. I look at it as the child was innocent, though. I think she should have had consent. So she should have been able to give consent, in my opinion, if she wanted to take her life to save millions. What would you guys think Ellie would have done if she actually was asked or talked about, what she had
I think
to
she would have.
sacrifice?
She would have.
Yeah, she would have, absolutely. She made that very clear in the
Yeah.
finale. Or in the other episode. She's like, my life would have fucking mattered. If
She would have purpose.
Yeah.
She would have had purpose instead
I think
of
she absolutely would have,
surviving.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that is something that Joel did take away from her, as she did explain in the second season. But it's like that. It's like you say that now, but what if it actually came down to the point? You know?
And
Yeah,
it
we don't
was
know. We don't know what would have actually happened at that
and
point.
it was kind of cool too because I remember the second episode when obviously the whole thing with Joel. I remember Sam saying at the end of it, he was like, Ellie, or he never got to tell Ellie. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm just like, dude, if you only knew. And
Yeah.
I'm so happy, and it was cool to, to see and to hear obviously everyone's reaction to that.
Because
And, that whole,
you played the full second
yeah,
game, right?
I've
Yeah.
beaten I've beaten I've platinumed it. I love that game.
It's a great game.
But yeah, so if it was cool to hear your guys' reaction to something
You
like
know,
that
it was
whole porch scene was
it's just
fucking amazing. They nailed it.
Yeah.
so Sam and I mean, when we used to hang out in my grandma's basement, we would binge watch TV shows. Like we would binge like 3 shows at one time. Uh the best trio binge that I've ever done with my family, which is Sam, my brother, was Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, and Weeds. Now, we're not on that topic of talking about other TV series, but The Last of
Yeah,
Us.
what the fuck are you doing right now?
But in most cases in a TV series, the main person goes all the way through until the end, depending on what ending that's going to be for that
Well, I'll tell
specific
you what
show.
started doing what I'll tell you where they got that inspiration. Game of Thrones. I
I don't
mean,
know.
I Game of Thrones, well, do you want spoilers for Game of Thrones? I know you've never seen it. I highly recommend at least one watch through of it.
I am gonna watch it. I am gonna watch. I
Okay.
got a lot
I
of other
won't I won't
plans.
get into specifics. They do something very similar.
Like what
And
happened in The Last of Us?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. And obviously it's that story that needs to be told. I mean, so one thing that I've noticed about overall opinions, because you're kind of seeing nothing but flack. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like a majority of people are not liking what's happening with this show, and it's coming from gamers, and it's even coming from non-gamers. Now, all of us in here, we seem to enjoy what's going on right now for the most part. Minor nitpicks here and there, sure. Some things aren't fully landing, uh, but over the overall and everything they're doing in between, can't really complain at the end of the day. And I'm excited for season 3. But one thing that I noticed that everyone's kind of excited, like that has a positive aspect to it, is I saw some people saying like, it's cool kind of seeing people who haven't played the game watch this show and they're having the same reactions we had when we played the second game. Like they're kind of having like when Joel died, what the fuck what are you gonna do? And a lot of people are like, I remember I was like, fuck Abby, I don't care who she is. And like, it just going through all the different things and seeing like Ellie kind of go down this darker path. Now to get into moments of like the season, because there are a couple that stand out to me. And one thing that is very recent is the conversation she has with Jesse in that finale about
Oh, before
mhm.
right before when they're in the
Yeah,
theater.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
During that, but even before that, where because he's telling her like which brings me back to like the greed thing I was talking about. Uh, he's telling her like you're just doing this for yourself. You're not doing this for Joel. And after that, or I think before that, when what were they called again? The Wolves?
The
Is that what
what the
that group?
part that the group that Abby's with? It's the
Yeah.
WLF. Yeah, it's the
Okay.
WLF. The
Yeah.
Washington Liberation Front is what they're
And
called.
then there's the like cult like people with the
The
shaved heads.
Serafites.
Okay, I don't
Yeah.
know. But when they saw the group take the one kid and like rip his shit off, and Ellie was gonna go like help him, and then Jesse was like, no, like that's has nothing to do with me. That's not gonna help my community. So they both kind of see things like you're being selfish, no, you're being selfish, but they both have kind of their valid reasons for doing what they're doing. It's kind of cool just seeing that, and you really you can fall for either side. I think it just depends like what you favor more. It's like, am I doing like Ellie's? Ellie's doing something of what's best to honor her loved one, Joel. Like, hey, you killed somebody that I love and that was close to me. Whereas Jesse is like, I'm protecting everybody the best I can, not just like one particular person.
That's what I really liked about him. He was like you just said, like he was trying to, he wasn't just thinking of himself.
Hmm.
He was thinking about the greater good,
Yeah.
and that
But
was
he
one of my
was
favorite.
willing to let, like, someone get hurt,
Right,
and that, that's not a flaw. It's just you can see why Ellie thinks the way she does about that. And it's kind of cool. That's good. See, that's what I mean. I'm like, that's good writing right there. Like, all these characters have depth to them. They're pretty much three-dimensional for the most part. And you can kind of understand everyone's demons and motives and intentions, whether they seem for better or for worse. So yeah, no, I definitely like the character writing in this overall. Another great scene that stands out is I loved it. It was very simple, but when Ellie Sane's take on me.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the entire. Just
Yeah, that
I
was
fucking loved it. And no one, we have not even talked about Dina yet, who may have been
yeah.
the MVP of this season. Like she fucking like every
She's a
scene she
great
was
she's a
in,
great
she carried
character.
it, dude. I loved her. So yeah, yeah, but yeah, that whole take on me scene was pulled at the heartstrings a little bit. There's a
It
lot
did.
in this show that, like, even knowing that, like, what's coming, seeing it play out in live action was so much, it was so different. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
it's a greater, I don't know, but yeah, seeing it play out like that, it was good for sure.
Um, shit, what the fuck was I just about to say? I know Dina is probably out of like new additions, probably my favorite one. She's awesome. She's really adding a lot of depth, especially with Ellie's character. I will say, I think overall, like just judging based as seasons, I find this one more emotionally captivating. There's a lot of tense parts, even the parts that are like more just suspense, like when Dina and Ellie are running out of the subway with all the fucking infected like running after them. Like, that was a crazy fucking scene, and we had a couple moments like that, especially with the ones that are smart too. The ones that
Those
like
fucking
those things
stalkers.
are creepy, dude. But like we have a lot of like I think very on edge moments that either like have you kind of on the edge of your seat, or the ones that got you like an emotional level. But I do think the first season's just a little bit better than this one as an overall season, because that one is like a complete story. And I did find like each and every moment in every episode in that like up to par. I thought like each episode, like they kind of kept one upping each other. And this one, not knocking it, there are a couple moments that felt more filler and drag, more like for the sake of filling in the runtime. And it wasn't anything awful. I think I'm not fully on board with what's his name? Isaac.
Isaac.
I think it's not that I'm not on board with it, but I'm not as concerned about it as I am for like the main thing. It's just I'm like, oh, we're introducing a lot, and it's like, where are we prioritizing right now?
You're gonna see a lot more of him and a lot more of that war that they're gearing up for in
Yeah,
season three.
I just think that this they were struggling to find their balance with all of it. There were times where it was kind of going all over the place, and then I'm like, well, I also don't know what the fuck Tommy's up to.
That
I
was
don't know what
my
Abby's up to,
thing.
and I understand that that's the
Yeah,
intent. We weren't meant to see Abby till the because I was ready. I was like, when are we gonna see her?
yeah.
I'm like, I don't get me wrong, I love spending time with Ellie and Dina, but I'm like, there's other you're introducing things, but there's other things we already know about that we haven't seen. That's where I just think like the first season has a one up. It feels more tight and compacted. The second one was trying to find its footing as it was going.
I feel like
But it
having the same amount of episodes this season would have helped it a little more, to kind of flesh it out more because they only did 7 episodes this season, which
yeah.
is fucking beyond me. Like, why would you do that when you got a bigger story to tell here? And I don't
Because
know.
that's
I feel like
why.
9 or maybe even 10 would have helped it, you know? And I know you're trying to stretch it, absolutely, you know, but I feel like they still could have done all of this in 10 episodes because there's still some stuff from the games that they really didn't touch on, or they could have added their own stuff, you know? It doesn't have to just be from the game, but I don't know. I feel like a couple more episodes probably would have helped it a little bit more.
I do want to ask you, so from where we're at the end of this season, how far is that in the game?
That's halfway through.
That's halfway through the
That's about
game. Holy
halfway through.
shit. And they're trying to drag it into 2 more seasons?
I think they can. I think
Yeah,
they
but
can.
should they?
Yeah, because I feel like the ending of the
Is
game.
anyone worried that this, because is I obviously, yeah, don't spoil, but like if this whole game is this Abby and Ellie thing, and I know we got the shit with Isaac's character and all that too going on, and I'm sure that's all going to clash at some point. There's a reason why it's in there, but I mean, if this really is Abby versus Ellie focused right now, and if that lasts, I feel like that's like the kind of the whole, main general gist of the game. If we wait till season 4 to get to that point, that's where it kind of feels like we could have been there already and past this, and it took a long time to get there. And I guess that could lead into talking about shit for the future, but like that's what worries me about this potential season 3 of being all Abby focused. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited to learn more about her, and because the show is good at what it's doing of making you see things in different lenses, like we've already seen with Joel and all that. I'm sure they're gonna find a way to kind of get me to side with Abby more.
Well, I mean, if you look at Abby too in the finale, did you notice like some things that were different about her? You know, like you didn't notice the whole bruise shit that she had on her neck, and just there's a lot,
I actually
you
didn't
know,
notice that.
because she was
I'll be
doing,
honest, I did not notice that.
yeah, she just, it's just, you know, but yeah, though she's doing a lot. When Ellie's in Seattle for those 3 days, Abby's just as busy. So
Right, and
you'll be
I'm
seeing it.
excited, but I don't know if I'm excited about the concept of the entire season being on her, and we're not going to see Ellie till season 4. And that's what I mean. Like, if that's how the game goes, cool, but you can play the game in one sitting if you want to and get your full story, and you can do it however you want to. You're in control of how much you get that. In a show, you don't get that. You get, in today's world, it takes 2 years to make a fucking show, sometimes three. If there's a writer strike, good fucking luck, buddy. With that said, I'm like, you're gonna make us wait like half a fucking decade to get to what you just ended on. No, no, thank you. And that's gonna I don't the reason why I think they're not gonna do that, this show is already not as well received as it was for the first season by popular demand. Now I don't agree with that, but that's just what it is. They're gonna only lose more people from that, I think. They gotta kind of try to find a way to win people back, I think. And doing that, of having it all Abby focused, they're only going to lose more people from that, I think. Because they have to look at this in a viewer's standpoint. Like, I know you got to respect the source material in the game, but you're not making a game. You're making a show. And you have to sacrifice what translates well to a TV show. What choices made in a game might not land well in a TV show. That's why they make differences in these kind of things. Because and that's why like all these people who are like mad about certain things of the show, and they're like, oh, it's not like the game. I'm like, well, it's not the game. It's a show based on the game. If you want that exact 100% story, go play the fucking game. I don't think the show should do that. Why are you like and that's how I felt with like Walking Dead and anything based on anything. Why would you want to see 100% of what you read or what you played in the show that you're watching? How are you excited to watch that? You know what's going to happen. I like that they're gonna be ballsy and make decisions and make some differences. I like that they'll respect the source material because killing off not only your main character, but Pedro Pascal, the biggest actor right now. That's fucking crazy. Like killing him off in the second episode like that. They could have stretched that out, and I kind of respect them that they didn't.
Shows the
So there's
realism in that
you know
survival of an apocalypse. Like not
right.
everybody lasts, and even the main character can
And
die,
he is just a
and that's
person. It's like, yeah, right. He's just a dude. He doesn't. I like that they don't give him that plot armor that you see in everything else.
yeah.
Sorry.
What? Did you say Jon Snow?
Jon Snow.
Yes. Yes. Boy, did that show get scared to kill characters off at one point.
Like the Nora scene. It was a little bit different in the game than it was in the show. But it was still like I said, a little bit ago, like the way they portrayed it and how that's when they finally made Ellie like that fucking ruthless badass. It was like, that was Joel in that scene. Like that's what Joel would have done. Like, where
Yes.
the fuck is Abby? And just beating the shit out of her. Like that's what Joel would have done. And that's where that's kind of how it started for her. But yeah, no. So my biggest thing was Tommy. I won't shut up about this because I love Tommy. He's one of my favorite.
Well, you're in the
characters
perfect
in the
place.
game. I know. He's one of my favorite characters in the game. And I know he kind of wasn't there for a lot, but they changed him up a lot, like kind of in the beginning. Like I said, I don't want to get into spoilers.
Here,
or
let me
anything,
let
but-
me ask you this then. What you mean by that is like, are you saying like it feels like in the show he's more at like acceptance of what happened with Joel. In the game, is he more like let's fucking
He's like,
get it?
we are going to Seattle.
Okay.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, so that was like the one thing where I was like I said, Tommy's one of my favorite characters, and to see him sidelined like this, kind of like in this, it was a little upsetting. Like that was seeing him in the finale. That was the first fucking time we saw him since episode 2. It's like, I don't know, man. And like you said, that's in the game. He's ready to go. Like he wanted Ellie kind of to stay back also in the game, but what's up, Bruno? But yeah, no, that's kind of like one of the things too, was just there wasn't a lot of Tommy, but the whole battle at what's the Jackson, the whole battle at Jackson in episode 2. The whole, when the bloater came and Tommy took down the bloater himself and just shit like that. Like that was a great addition. I'll put it that way. That was a very, very good addition to try to like space out the whole Joel thing. They wanted people to kind of like, obviously the Joel thing was the one that came out of that episode, but I think they made Tommy look really good. So yeah, that's my gripe. There wasn't enough Tommy. The whole, the sniper. Hopefully we see more of that in season 3. I think we might, but yeah. It's kind of without getting into spoilers here. So I'm trying to like keep it a little, so, but yeah. Yeah, that was my thing the whole time.
If anybody is watching this that hasn't seen the show, stop what the fuck you're doing right now and watch the show.
At this point, just finish this out because it's all been fucking ruined for you. So why stop here? To talk about the ending of what the fuck happened there. I didn't even think about this till a little bit like after we watched it, but I was like, wait, we didn't see Dina. I'm like, I think Dina fucking shot Abby. I don't think she killed her, but I think Dina shot Abby. I don't think Abby didn't kill fucking Ellie.
I say we don't know if Dina was the one that shot that.
I'm just saying
Abby.
that is my
Right.
prediction.
Right.
I feel like that checks out. I don't think they're gonna kill Abby. I don't know what happens. I don't know. I really hope they don't pick up on that back up in season 4. I'd be like, oh, I'm 80 years old and I forgot what happened.
If they do 7 episodes again in season 3, I do think that the majority of them will be with Abby, but we will see Ellie again next season. They're not gonna.
And they need
We
to pick
will
up
see
that
Dina
point.
again. We will not have to wait until season 4 to see who shot who. That might be the ending or the reveal at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
But I will say right now that I guarantee you we will see Ellie and Dina again in season 3. Maybe not till closer to the end, but we will see them.
Yeah.
So
Well, I feel like I don't know if they did that in the show or in the game. Because that was pretty. Like when I saw Abby, I was like, "Oh, we're here." I thought we were building up to Ellie getting to Abby, like for the kind of the rest of the fucking show. And when I saw that happen, I was like, "Oh fuck, we're here." And then when that happened, I'm like, "Well, shit. Now we're on to something new." Brett, what do you think happened? Because you haven't played the game, so these guys might know. That's why I haven't. That's why I didn't ask them.
What do I think happened at the end of the?
Yeah, when we didn't see who got shot or who even shot.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the game first.
So it's
Like, I'm not gonna guess on something I haven't
Abby
played,
pointing a gun
but
at Tommy. Or wait, no, she
she was
switched it over to Ellie.
she was pointing at Tommy. She's like, "I'll shoot him too."
yep.
But Dina's somewhere around.
It's the way they left it off is kind of hard to try to predict what actually happens. I think Abby's gonna get shot.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
it
she's
would be
gonna get
pretty lit in that. Um,
shot.
Yeah, no, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I'm enjoying it. I know everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I do think some of the negativity is not deserved though in many areas. I think the show's doing because the thing is, and I think everyone already kind of knows this, the second game is even divisive too. It's polarizing. It might be the most polarizing video game. So yes, making a show on that too, of course that's going to be polarizing too. I'm here for it. It's unique, it's different. Some things are kind of more weird, like I said. You see some things and you're kind of just in shock like, "Oh my god, they did this and they're going in this direction." Then you just kind of become more accepting of it and you kind of dig what they're actually forming. So, I'm liking it. I can't pinpoint on what the fuck we're going to see next season. And I even can't even pinpoint things about like Abby of like what we're gonna learn about her. Maybe see some type of flashback with her and her father. I saw something someone said it was like we might not have like we might not have seen the last of people that have died on The Last of Us,
Craig
which
Mazin said that.
because someone made something like, "Are we gonna see more Pedro Pascal?" And it was like, "We'll never say never." And I'm like, "Oh, great." Even though if that was his final episode, I'd be totally okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that. Because I kind of was not okay. I'm like, that's the last time we're gonna fucking see Joel in this show, and
And that was
I'm
another thing I was trying to keep quiet. Like, dude, you'll see him again. Like,
how and gamers because I know this is a difference. I think you told me TJ before this season even started. How you guys liking like the character of Gail and her husband and everything they did with that? Because I know that's not in the game.
I thought it was cool. She was a nice addition. I do think because you don't see Eugene because Eugene is in the game, but
Okay.
he's just mentioned. You never actually see him. I think it was cool to see how it played out with him, especially after the anger that Gail had for Joel and you're the one that killed him, but we, the viewer, never knew. Even like you said, the people that played the game were only able to kind of just, theorize on what actually happened. And that for them to actually show us, what happened with him, I thought was very cool. And the whole, Ellie ratting him out at the end, like, you fucking swore,
I liked
and blah,
that.
blah, blah.
I liked that.
I thought it was,
Because he
yeah,
deserved that. I was like,
yeah.
yeah,
Joel's a shitty human being. He is. Yes, there are a lot of good qualities to him, but there are a lot of bad
There are, but
qualities
you
to
can
him.
say, I think you could say that about everyone in that world. Because, yeah, there's just a lot of that type. That is one thing I want to mention on here, and I've said this since the beginning of this show. I think this show and even the game too, from what I'm playing, is the best interpretation of a zombie apocalypse as far as survivors go. This is realistic. It's going to turn you into like your coldest version of yourself. You're like you have to mold into that like kind of dark and cruel and gruesome world. It's going to mold you into like something you didn't think you were capable of. And that's what happened with Joel. And, just following all their reasons with the character writing. I mean, I hate comparing it to this, but like with The Walking Dead, yes, I love The Walking Dead. The show, I watched it from start to finish, but I feel like this show is nailing it way better with like, how are people actually acting in these scenarios? Like, just throwing them in different scenarios in this and seeing how they're going to go. And you want to see them because a lot of times we're seeing Rick. Yes, Rick's done some shitty shit too. We've seen him go off tangents and kind of be. We're left in like a position where we can't really side with him. But Joel, it's more prominent. He's like that from the get go. Rick, it's like he builds into that, but we will always look at him as the good guy because that's what he is at heart. Joel, I'm with you. Like, I'm like the shitty human being part. I can't really say he's a hero, but he's not the worst person that you can run into in that world. We already met that person. It's that cannibal.
David from season
Yeah,
one.
he's the worst person we ran into in this
That shit
entire
was
thing.
more terrifying in the show, I think, than it
That was
was
a
in the game.
crazy episode.
Yeah,
I'd
Brett,
say
what did you think?
my opinion on Joel and Eugene, just not getting on the other topic about the cannibal yet, but I was getting ready to talk
Mhm.
about Eugene and Joel. My
Yeah,
opinion, when you watch a lot of zombie movies, a lot of movies about apocalypse stuff, Joel used the instinct of, oh, he's bit, he needs to go. And I think rather than risking the fact that he can change and get infected any given time inside their little town, he didn't want to put anybody at risk for it. Granted, that dude gets
mostly
shot
Ellie
down right away. Mostly.
in that moment too.
That's where I kind of got to side with Joel on it because it's been done in all sorts of movies. Somebody gets bit, they gotta go. I mean, and the life lesson they learned is in some of those movies that you've seen as well is they let somebody string along because of their emotions towards that person. They don't want them to. They don't want to be the person to kill them. Then what happens? Shit goes haywire and they end up becoming a zombie, whatever the case is, and now they have no choice but to pull that trigger on that person. I mean, yeah, it's kind of shitty that Eugene didn't get a chance to say bye to his wife, but do you think I believe that if Joel brought him to his wife so they talked, it would have been much more of a harder goodbye in her case of seeing him and knowing that he's going to die.
Well, I think it's more so like I'm with you on that, and that's where like I am in I guess for lack of a better term, agreement on Joel's action there, but that's where that kind of stops for me because he didn't have to lie to both Ellie, who
No.
he claims to like. Yes, I know he loves Ellie. I do believe he actually loves Ellie like his own daughter, but you didn't have to lie to her. And you knew how pissed she was going to be lying to her. You already lied to her once beforehand,
Yeah.
and then he went to lie to that's where he is kind of shitty.
That's
He's a
where
liar.
that's
He's
where I kind of
unreliable.
That's where I kind of came to question with like why did he have to lie about that? I mean,
Because he's
there's no.
selfish.
Yeah, but what does selfish have to do with that rather than Does he just think that people would just dislike him because that happened? Yeah, I'm guessing so.
Probably.
But still, in all, like, you're in an apocalypse, and if people get infected, I mean, what kind of person would he be if he brought an infected person back into the town?
Yeah.
I think it was kind of like a damned if he did, damned if he didn't type of scenario at that point.
Probably. Probably. Yeah, it was just unfortunate, and I feel like, he's definitely a very impulsive character. He kind of, and that's what we're seeing Ellie turn into. Like, she's not really, Ellie was more, I feel like, level-headed than Joel. We saw that all the first season. She was more of like humane and everything. Um and she definitely, like, when she got violent, it was to solely protect herself, to get her out of a situation she would have been killed or severely hurt in if she didn't do so. In this, she's Joel. She is turning into Joel, and she's kind of an unreliable narrator herself. I forgot what it was exactly, but there was something of having to do with like protecting Dina. She was like, I would die for Dina, but then like I forgot, something fucking happened to where like it contradicted it, and I'm like, oh, even she's like, that's some Joel shit right there. Like, she's even not that reliable. She'll kind of just say the shit you want to hear, but her true motives within herself are definitely like, she just wants
I
to
mean, yeah,
ride the thrill of vengeance.
knowing that Dina was pregnant, after the fact of Dina finally finding out that she's immune to getting bit. I think Ellie should have made the choice to take her back to the town, no matter what Dina said, because and you're pregnant, and this is a stressful situation that I am basically walking you into. I
Mhm.
think she should have. I think she should have brought her back into town where she belonged, to not stress, not put any strain on the baby that's in her stomach growing. And I think that was a very selfish part. I mean, she did allow Dina to make the choice, but what was Dina gonna do? She's already out there. She's gonna want to stay. She's gonna want to fight, but realistically, she shouldn't have, and
Yeah.
Ellie shouldn't have allowed it.
That was
Yeah.
a that was another thing too. Kind of with the game and how, Ellie had a completely different reaction when Dina told her she was pregnant, But I did like, I'm gonna be a dad. Like
Yeah,
I still don't
That's the
know that
everyone's hating.
everybody hated that
Oh, they're
fucking
hating
line.
that.
And I thought it was great. Like, it's like they're adding some humor and some personality to Ellie, especially with Dina, and that was
you
the
know
point.
that's what I like about the show too, is the humor that gets involved into it. It's not always all serious, and
No,
especially
well,
if
and that,
Ellie was a kid with the pun intended book, like
yeah.
that's like perfect. Like, kids can still be kids even in an apocalypse,
Yeah.
where they still have that sense of humor. They want to be funny, whatever, lollygag.
And she is being forced to grow up too fast, but she's doing it like at her own pace. And like, another thing, not to get back on this train, but like, of the Bella Ramsey hate. And I don't know if this is necessarily a hate towards her or like the writing of Ellie for this show, but people are like, well, she's supposed to be a lot older in the second game, yet she's acting still super immature. And I'm like, she's 19 years old. 19-year-olds are also immature. What, she's not
I was
like, yeah,
immature when
she's
I
an
was
adult.
19.
She's not an adult. She's not 14 anymore. She's not a kid, but she's also not a 30-year-old person like people want her to be, apparently. And I'm like, isn't she 19 in the game? And
Yeah.
I understand, like, maybe, yes, she should be a little bit more seasoned and everything. I feel like she kind of is, compared, like, she's not, you could tell she's not a child in this season. Yes, there are some things where it's like, girl, you could be using your head a little bit. But
Dina was like damn survivalist this season,
yeah,
She was on
Yeah.
top of everything, like pinpointing the locations and shit, like using the
yeah,
radio and stuff. I'm like, all right, like that was what
smart
I'm saying
cookie.
about, yeah, that's what I'm saying about Dina being like the MVP of the season, because she knew what to do and she learned it all from Joel, which is
Yeah,
like, even and that was nice too, like showing Dina's relationship with Joel, and then after she was like, I loved him too. Like, do you think that you're the only one affected by this shit? Like, no.
Yeah.
I was too. Like, he was like a father to me, because Dina lost her family, but yeah. So that's, yeah, I think Dina was for sure.
Yeah, but she's probably my favorite addition. There hasn't really been an addition I dislike. Hell, we even got a Josh Peck cameo in this
That shit.
season.
Yeah.
Great opening though.
It was. It was.
Yeah,
And did
no.
you notice that the dude that like Isaac basically like
Mentored. Took
yeah,
in.
he was in the finale. Did you
Yeah,
notice
yeah, I
that?
saw
That was
him. You know who I thought that was for a second? Sebastian Stan. Kind of looked like him in the
He looks
face.
like him a little bit.
I was
yeah,
like Bucky.
sure. So yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm enjoying this. I think unless there's anything you all want to touch on some more, if you want to get some other thoughts out about this. Um, if not, I am ready for us to go one by one. Uh, what y'all would rate this season? We'll just stick with the current season. I can kick that off. I would rate this a 7 out of 10 overall. I'd probably give the first season like a 9 out of 10. This 7 out of 10, just a couple points down, just for some. I don't know. It's I hate to like say like it's an incomplete story because I know that we didn't touch the whole second game and I knew that going into this. I don't know. I already explained why I like the first season a little bit more. I'm not knocking the second season, just my rating for it.
Yeah.
Brett, what would you rate this?
Would I rate this?
Yeah.
For the second season, I'd give it a solid 8. I mean, everything was still good. It's still enjoyable to watch. Yeah, there was a couple of obvious areas and some episodes where it's like, okay, this is prolonging, but still in all, I'd say it's an overall 8 for me. But it won't come close to Raising Cane's Chicken.
The fuck.
I'm not. None of this is sponsored by them, people. By the way,
That's
so.
right. Yep. Nope. Raising Cane sponsor me. I need chicken for life. For life.
Well, people, because I definitely edited that out. I fucking done fucked up and hit my Wi-Fi adapter, and yeah, right as we're hitting the end of the episode. Brett said 8 out of 10. That much I remember.
Daft said 7.
Okay.
Daft gave it a 7.
And you, final verdict.
And I will give it an 8.
Okay.
2 points get deducted. The first one is because of my gripe with Tommy. I do think that was one, and then the second I also already touched on was the lack of episodes. I do feel like there could have been a little bit more.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it was good. I like the changes. I like the stuff that they kept the same. So yeah.
Solid.
10 for me.
Can't wait for season 3. And yeah, that is what we got for The Last of Us season 2. And thank you to you 3 for being here. All right. Well, everybody, I guess what? I still don't know how I'm gonna end these fucking things. So I'm gonna say we will now shut up.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for listening. Thank you guys for being here. And I will see everybody for the next episode. Adios.
Adios.